How's it going, everybody? So we're going to be talking about the upcoming Hall of Hero because there's been a lot of debate in two Facebook groups that I'm currently in, one of them being my own and mostly another one, but it's all good. We're going to be talking about Conrad, the Light Death Knight, and I'm going to be talking about some speculations on what you should be doing in preparation for this Hall of Hero because it is going to have Revive, it's going to have immunity, and it's going to have some pretty decent single target damage on some wind monsters, and I'm talking about Brienne for Revive, Fedora for immunity, and Arnold for the extortion. We're also going to have Dias, which does in fact reduce damage by 15% like Darien, the Light Vagabond. So just looking at that, it is going to be a pretty annoying Hall of Heroes. So I'll give you some tips on preparation for this, of course, and what kind of teams you should really look for, kind of. It's going to be a little bit harder for you lower level players, and I know my channel mostly reaches out to a lot of lower level players, so I'll kind of talk about that in a little bit. And of course, it's going to be starting on January 15th at 12 p.m., so at noon. This is, of course, for PST, okay, Pacific Standard Time, alright? Don't get this confused with your own time zone. You guys need to know that it is, in fact, Global Server Time Zone, okay? PST. Go look up some kind of converter. It's really easy, alright? And then, of course, it tells you how to participate, whatever. Alright, what are we going to actually be discussing here, okay? Because this is one of those things that a lot of people have been debating, and they're like, well, is Conrad good? And a lot of people have been calling me, like, all these names, blah, 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 saying that I'm a low meta player because I said Conrad is bad. Let's just think about this for a second. I mean, I shouldn't have to go over a monster like this and explain why he's not that great when I would say anyone with common sense above Conqueror 2 would realize he's really not that great. Okay, but since a lot of players are confused about this and a lot of players are being convinced that he's amazing, let's go through it, okay? It's not a rant video, it's just an explanation, okay? Same first skill, he does disturb HP recovery. It's going to be about an 80%, I believe, chance for disturbing HP recovery. That's not bad, okay? That's pretty good. Then you get to stuff like this, and it's the AoE attack that the Briand and, of course, that... Arnold? Yeah, it was Arnold. Arnold brings the AoE attack as well, and it reduces the attack power. So it's got attack break AoE, which is absolutely amazing for Trial of Ascension. Not going to lie about that. Not going to say some false information. It is absolutely amazing for Trial of Ascension. But then we get into this third skill. And this third skill is an attacks an enemy, reviving an ally with 30% HP if it's killed, basically. And if there's no allies that are able to be revived, then all allies will receive damage absorbing shield for 2 turns, and it's proportionate to the monster's level. Okay, so it's kind of like a Case's shield that's proportionate to the max level of the monster that's currently casting it. So of course Conrad, it's going to be based on his level. It's also similar to that Fire Anubis, I believe, that puts that shield on. It's the same thing where it's proportionate to the level of the monster that is casting the shield. Okay, in this case it's Conrad. Now, this third skill, if you use it, you have to kill the enemy. If you want a revive, you have to kill the enemy. If you want to, you know, get that shield, you have to kill the enemy. And I believe the multiplier on Conrad is just over 700% for the damage, which is really high, really high. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that's really high. But let's talk about this for a moment, okay? First 2 skills based on max HP. Alright, well this one is just a non-damage skill. And this one is based on the HP, it's what? Proportionate to the HP of all enemies. What is it? Oh, it's his own HP. Okay, so I should have read on this before I started the video, but okay. I knew these are HP based skills, okay? The third skill is an attack based skill. It doesn't have any HP proportionality to it at all. Alright? So, what are you going to do? Build him hybrid build for the damage? Or are you going to just build him for attack build? If you're going to build him as an attack-based monster, keep in mind this is your Revivor for doing damage. That's a pretty inconsistent revive if you ask me. I mean, a 4-turn revive seems pretty freaking amazing, but this is if you can set him up, and if you can kill the enemy, just for a 30% revive? No. And on top of that, this is a single target attack with 4-turn cooldown when you max out his third skill. You know, we'll actually include that part to it. So let's say you actually max out his third skill. It's 4 turns for 1 target kill. Okay? Now, that just, I don't know why people don't see this sooner when they're looking at Conrad, like, oh my gosh, he's so amazing because he does so much damage. Let's split this out, alright? Let's just think about this for a second, okay? Let's split this out. Let's say 4 turns, right? Let's say you can get a different monster that can do an average of 10 turns, or sorry, 4 turns, 10k hit per turn. This is not even including the fact that you need defense break and attack break for Conrad to reach those kinds of levels. You know, let's say he even does more damage than that. You could easily get a better runed monster to hit for 12 to 20k per hit, which over a course of 4 turns, single target damage is going to do more damage overall. Now, of course, it is a single hit, so you're more likely to kill some type of heavy heal or heavy revive team kind of thing. Well, actually, more like the heavy heal ones. But that's not the point. The point is it's single target for a really high cooldown for some kind of bullshit like this, where over an average of turns, if you're really thinking about it, it's not that much damage. Okay, the second turn I absolutely love. He's not going to be great. I would not recommend him for raids. These 2 skill sets are absolutely awesome, but I just don't think I would recommend him for raids for doing the damage. The damage is not really consistent enough. If you want him to do some decent damage, you would need to actually rune him to be based for the damage. And honestly, if you ruined him for damage, he'd just be another glass cannon you're building up for single target damage that you have to take care of. Okay? And this is ignoring the fact that it's a 30% revive. A 30% revive. That's beyond me, okay guys? I've never ever seen anyone say that Conrad is great until now. Until now. He is considered the worst Death Knight of all of them. Actually, I would consider him one of the worst natural 4-star light and dark monsters. Now, it isn't to say, let's say, you do in fact decide to use him, you know, that's fine. It's whatever, okay? But it's one of those things that's very situational. You could probably end up building a team around him, and it's just like, it absolutely makes no sense. Now I'm going to hop into TOA here really quick, and I will show you, because he's on the second stage, and I just want to show you, you know, what he does exactly and how his AI works, okay? So, that's the thing with this Hall of Hero. Now, talking while we wait for this thing to finish, because it's going to take a few seconds for this to go through. This Hall of Hero is going to be quite annoying. I'm just warning you guys about that. I'm not gonna lie, this is, even for me and for a lot of other Guardian players, this is gonna be a pretty annoying Hall of Hero for B3 and B2. For B1, if you guys are lower level, just worry about your runes, okay? That's all I've got to say about that. But B2 and B3 farming, it's gonna be pretty annoying, okay? So you're gonna have stuff like Dias that reduces damage. You're gonna have stuff like Brian that can put on a AoE attack break, and of course he's going to be bringing revive, so you're gonna have to make sure that you bring some decent damage to make sure you get past those revives. You got to worry about Conrad kind of a little bit. There's no defense break actually. Only defense break comes from the second skill of the water and the dark Death Knights, okay? And it's only single target, but that does mean that it's going to be singled down. So if you're just taking your sweet ass time, they will put on a single targeted defense break, which if paired with Conrad or Arnold or any of those things in B3 will do some pretty gnarly damage. Oh, here we are. So sorry about that. Let me pause that. Oh, come on, give me a chance to pause it. These animations won't let me. Stop it. Stop Okay, so let's go ahead and let one of the Conrads get a turn. Okay, of course we need to wait so that the Vanessas can put on a little bit of defense break. Never mind, they're just going off doing their own thing. Okay, so you saw that right there. He did that thing. Okay, now, I'm not going to judge his damage based off of TOA, of course, but you guys saw what it looks like, right? And the damage, I'll admit, can be pretty scary sometimes with defense break and attack break. It would probably do a lot more damage as well. But this is one of those things that, like, you really don't need to worry about. So about a little bit under 8,000. No buffs at all just on regular Chisun. That doesn't have much defense. So let's apply defense break. I would say with defense break that would probably be around 20k. Let's maybe a little bit less than 20k. And then let's say you had an attack buff. That'd probably be in the 30 30k range, and then of course he has an AoE attack that can be quite annoying. So overall, each individual skill, except for the third one, is a good skill, okay? And this is where it comes into the whole play, where you guys need to look at these monsters and look at the entire kit, not just one skill. You should never be bringing one individual monster for one individual skill when you're going into things like TOA. Most of the time it's TOA hard mode, because it's really easy to get through TOA normal with just runes. Seriously, I'm already halfway through on Farmer Phil, and it's a level 32 account. Like, guys. But just being realistic here, he's running an attack-based third skill for DPS, and he's running more TOA utility type skills. So let's say you do decide to use him in TOA. It's just not logical. It's not logical to be using your Revivor as a type of damage dealer. And that's why I would never ever build him personally. A lot of players have built him and love to play around with him, and that's where I come in and I say he's a toy. He is a toy, and this is what I call a toy. You build a monster that's a lot of fun and that you can mess around with. That's why I built Karak. I mean, he can be good in some areas, but he's basically a toy for me. It's the same reason I ended up building Katarina. She's just a toy for me. So just to give you guys an example, fucking Amen, God, this is another example. I just want to bring this up because I recently mentioned it in my last video. Okay, and this is what I'm talking about. It's not about overall. Okay, overall, a monster could be good, but when you look at a monster, you need to look at them. You need to be, okay, where would I use this monster? What does he bring to the table? What is he going to do for me? And how does he contribute to the team? Is he going to be, nailing down lots of damage? Is he going to be buffing the team? Is he going to be healing? Blah, blah, blah. In this case, Amen is a healer, right? Well, he only brings heal. That's it. That's all he brings. And most of the time you'd be using him, if you need him for Kairos, all you need is Bella. That's the only heal you'll ever need for Kairos, if you need a healer. That's if you need one, because most players don't need one. If you need a healer, Bella is the only heal you'll ever need, and Veramos. Vero, Bella, those two monsters. I went over it in last video too. Okay, so just a quick run through. Okay, so I would never use Amen again. If I build him, it'd be for a toy. Same thing for Conrad. If you're gonna be bringing a healer, your healer needs to be able to survive your team, like out-survive your team or out-survive whatever member is getting killed. Alright? That's why everyone runs their Revivors with tons of HP. Alright? So stuff like Iona, Michelle, Briand, even Eladriel and Vanessa, you see them lots and lots of HP. Okay? And this guy is an attack-based monster with an attack-based revive. Let's say you do build him for, lots of HP, and you try to use that third skill. He's not going to be reviving anyone unless you get that HP of that other monster way down there, and that's pretty difficult to set up. And that's why I would never build him, okay? And now I'm not just going to sit here and bash on Conrad. I just need to explain this to a lot of people, because a lot of people keep going around like, oh, is Conrad good? And people are like, yeah, he's the most amazing monster in the world. No, that's not the case, alright? And let's say, you do need a revive, which in most cases, if you're bringing a Revivor, you do need one. Well, he's an attack-based monster. If you're losing monster, he's probably going to be one of the first ones to go. Losing your Revivor in Trial of Ascension is basically a death sentence. And I'm talking about Trial of Ascension hard mode, or even normal mode where people struggle. It can feel like hard mode. Okay, if you need to be reviving someone, most likely your Conrad's already dead. Unless it's some type of single target heavy stage, and in most cases, if it is, it's going to be stuff like high elementals that ignore defense, and they're just going to be popping monsters left and right. And Conrad has no elemental advantage or disadvantage, so let's say you bring other units that do have that kind of thing. They'll take the heat at first, but Conrad's going to eventually be targeted, and that's where, he's going to end up dying. And that's why, I needed to make this informational video, because a lot of misconceptions about there, and information has been getting misconstrued. So once the Hollow Heroes gets out, I will make a video kind of running through it and whatnot, kind of just showing my team. I'll probably end up streaming on it. Stream tomorrow or today, which depends on what time zone you're in. Probably it'll be today for you guys, Thursday at 3 p.m. my time, or even 2 p.m. global server time, PST. There will be a countdown timer in the description below or in the comment, whichever one. Okay, check that, guys. I will do a stream tomorrow and we'll talk more about it. Hopefully you guys enjoy the video and get some information about it, alright? And oh yeah, one last thing. If you guys are going to be doing this Hall of Heroes, you're going to be needing to make sure, alright, that you bring, I would say, lots of damage or lots of CC, because the most annoying thing in that Hall of Hero is going to be Fedora. With the, you know, the immunity and the cleansing, and it's going to take a lot more time to get through that. And of course you've got Revive from Briand, you've got Dias to reduce the damage. This is going to be one of those full-on support-based Hall of Heroes, and you're just going to be struggling to just push through the entire thing because they're going to out-survive you. That's the way I look at it. If you guys have a different idea, let me know in the comment section below. If you guys have found use for Dias, or sorry, not Dias, Conrad. If you have found use for Conrad, let me know in the comments below. I will hear you out. I'm not just going to be arrogant about it and just keep to my opinion. I'm curious as to what others have to say about it, okay? But that is the way I look at it. If you guys can kind of agree with me, then, you know, you'd know that obviously it's not a monster that you should ideally build, okay? Other than being a toy. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next video. You guys stay awesome and keep it real.